Alright, what's going on, guys? Trev back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing my weekly review for this week's episode of the Walking Dead television series, of course on AMC. This one is for episode 3. It's called Monster. And big time spoiler warning, if you guys have not seen this episode yet, you definitely want to watch it before you watch my review. So if you guys missed it, I did a reaction video earlier to, what happens in this episode. The huge, and when I say huge, I mean colossal character death. Not really, but, of course, Monster. They did it, man. They went for it. They killed him off already. Spoiler warning. They killed Morales. Damn it. And they also killed Erick off as well, too. Seemingly, at least it was kind of confirmed, right, on Talking Dead. I haven't seen all Talking Dead yet. Just do my review first. I get to watch it later in my own free time when I'm done, filming all the videos for you guys. But so just to sum up, the reaction video will be posted at the end of this one in the end screen credits, so you guys click there to watch and see my reaction to them killing Morales. Of course, I'm kind of upset about it. Episode gets a 0 out of 10. That's it. There's your review, guys. 0 out of 10. Worst episode ever. I'm so mad they killed Morales, but. I'm just happy that they brought him back even for a little bit. And there's some really great dialogue in here with Rick. I want to say that his kind of comeback is short but sweet. Even though, Morales is not a big enough character for them to probably ever do like... a flashback episode or something like that. Some people were asking questions about that in comments this week in the Q&As. They would never do a flashback episode with Morales. It's never going to happen. But, this is probably the closest thing that we could get to it, to get an understanding of kind of what he's been throughout the zombie apocalypse. So we get the idea that after he left with his family in season 1, they didn't make it very far. We can probably assume that maybe sometime in season 2, or in terms of equivalency, probably not even to like season 3 where the original group was at. Very quickly, most likely, Morales' family didn't make it. I'm sure he would have run out of ammo pretty quickly, even though he had, Rick had given him a pretty good amount with the handgun. But still, trying to defend your family out on the road near the beginning of the zombie apocalypse, there's more zombies everywhere. None of them have been killed off yet. There's more crazy stuff going on at the very beginning than there is later on, after I want to say things settle down after, a little while, once a lot of the groups have died off and this kind of deal. His family just not making it very far at all. So I thought that was pretty natural. That made sense. He lets us know that he never got to the location that they were trying to go to. In fact, not even close, it sounds like. And then somehow he managed, maybe wandering around, surviving just wherever, sleeping wherever. He was found by the Saviors, and they somehow kind of, I suppose, saved him, so to speak. But we got to see a lot of these really great lines that we wanted to know. We got an update from Morales for what happened to him all this time, and Rick also gave Morales an update for why they're doing what they're doing, why they're attacking. He talked about Glenn and the fact that, Negan had killed him. The widow that he talks about is Maggie. It's he didn't know her, but it was Glenn's wife after the zombie apocalypse. So, and for Morales as well too, they do kind of go way back, to the beginning. So obviously there's some kind of bond there, and you can kind of tell. And it seems like Rick doesn't really want Daryl to kill him when he does. Like, no, especially me, it's like, jump out of my chair, right? So, it's what it is. But, He put in with the Saviors. The Saviors saved him. They kept him alive. They kept him going. And maybe, with Negan, he led him down the wrong path. He took these people and he showed them that the way to survive, the way to make it, is to be as ruthless as possible, bash people's heads in, do stuff like this, whatever it is. And he's a monster. Rick's a monster too. So it's just some really great dialogue, really great conversation between Rick and Morales here that personally I want to watch later, because it's just so huge for hardcore fans of the series that I've been wondering what's happened to him all these seasons. So some really great stuff there. The mention of Officer Friendly, that was awesome. That was really, really cool. Died right along with him. So really cool that, even though they're both kind of still there, they're not the same people that they were, and the old them is dead. The new them is just, basically surviving, and that's all there is to it. That's the best it pretty much gets for them, and that's what the way Morales sees it is that, surviving, being part of the Saviors, feeding up and doing all this stuff, that's about as good as it gets, is just to survive at this point. A lot of people don't even get that luxury, and then out of nowhere, Daryl smokes him. I mean, with a bolt, absolutely smokes him. What was a crazy sequence that, yes, it was spoiled for me, but it was still nuts to see it when we actually saw the the kill and everything. I can imagine a lot of people will be really upset with this one because it had been so long for them to finally bring him back, just for them to kill him off right away. It feels like they're trolling us or, something like that. But, I'm a glass half full kind of guy. I'm kind of just happy that we even got to see him in the show ever, because really, it really looked like by the time we got to season 8, they're never going to bring this guy. We're never going to see what happened to him. We're never going to get answers for that. And finally, we do in this one, get that kind of final answer. And then even though Morales has survived all this time, Daryl takes him out just like that. So he dies just as easily as anybody else, pretty much, given the situation. I did also like that, with regards to family, Rick mentioned that, Shane was dead, Lori was dead, Andrea, like a lot of the people that were there at the very beginning, it's like they're almost all dead, really, out of that original group. He doesn't mention Carl, of course. Carl's still okay, but, Morales probably doesn't want to hear that at that time. So it would have been really cool to see him live on the series. We'll probably touch on a lot this week during Q&As because it really is a huge death. Because still, even though you're killing off a character that hasn't been in the show since the first season, you're still killing off a first season character. So I think for viewers of the show that have, first saw Morales with the other group all those years ago, it is a bigger character death than Erick is. No offense to the actor who plays Erick, but, characters that come in at the very beginning of the series, I think, they go way back. So, and a lot of us have seen those episodes, like the first season, so many times, in reruns when you're watching marathons or, this kind of thing. I mean, the first season is like infamous for Walking Dead because it just really got this series started. So it was huge. But that said, even though there was the Morales kill and everything, Daryl knew exactly who he was, and he doesn't care at this point. He's doing what he's got to do for the others to survive. No Mr. Nice Guy anymore. That doesn't exist for Daryl, and that makes sense. You can understand that. The death of Erick as well, too, was a huge death in this one. Even though we don't actually, get to see the body, that's not him. Scott and the others, kind of took him or what have you. So, so for Aaron as well and Erick, that was really sad. And I'm going to watch Talking Dead later, like I said, but that was really sad sequence. I thought Ross Marquand did an amazing job of everything there, and also what makes it even a little bit more tragic is that it was a friendly fire shot, and somebody called us out in a Q&A, like, did he did he accidentally shoot him? Was he the one who shot him? And it's kind of like, and part of it, when I'm watching the episode through at the beginning, I'm like, who's shooting who's on what side here? The way the camera work was going, and I thought it was like a mistake. I thought it was like this is not obvious to see, and then afterwards, right after we see the conversation with Aaron and Erick, and we find out that it was friendly fire, and you can definitely see that with the scene right before where you've got all these people, they're shooting back and forth, other angles, you got some moving, you got some trying to get inside, you got them pushing them back, so you get confused in the whole thing, bullets flying absolutely everywhere, people kind of coming up, making moves, and, maybe accidentally others, hitting them or this kind of thing. So you definitely can understand how that could happen, and just really feel sorry for Aaron because ultimately he's the one who pulled that trigger. He's not going to be able to get any kind of vengeance, and he's definitely going to be maybe, a bit masochistic after doing that because he messed up here and did that, and now his husband or boyfriend is dead. But there was a scene with Gracie at the end there where he kind of adopts Gracie, I suppose, going to bring her back to the Hilltop. So we'll see who takes care of her. But I thought that was really good, and Rick is still the hero, even though the episode's called Monster. You have a conversation with him and Morales. What Rick's doing ultimately is he is fighting for good. He is fighting for freedom for everyone, and even though he was the one who killed, Gracie's dad, he's not going to raise her, but he'll bring her back, make sure that she's okay, and he's still the good guy, in a lot of ways. Even though some of the others here, maybe aren't aren't so good, like Daryl, shooting the guy near the end there, who had basically surrendered. So lots of just awesome stuff in this episode. Let's try to go through most of these scenes because, man, there was just so many. It was so loaded. The pacing was so crazy. And just yet again, another absolutely loaded episode. And right away, I'm saying, like, this might be the best season ever. I mean, Gimple did say that 4 episodes. We have one more episode like this next week that's going to be like all-out war craziness. But based on this start, I mean, this could be the best season they've ever done. Really, I'm totally serious. I'm thinking, like, this is fire so far, white hot. I mean, this is amazing stuff. So we'll see how the season goes later on, but I would not be surprised if Season 8 really is the best season of The Walking Dead ever, for sure. We start off, we've got the Kingdom with the radio. Let's go over everything with the Kingdom group, and let's do it in this way. We'll talk about the different groups and review it that way. So we have the stuff with that one. You got Ezekiel smiling and everything. I mean, I loved everything they did with Ezekiel in this one. Really cool that we got to see from the promo. It looks like they're surrendering, but it's a trap, and then the others come up at the sides and then take out all the saviors, which was really cool. Very smart as well, too, and it looks like the Kingdom are just on fire. They go from one garrison to the next, and they take them all out. I just love their culture. I love how they have this kind of, kingship idea, just old school and everything, and the dramatic flair. It's really fun. And right up to the end, where his overconfidence kind of overtakes him, as he tells everyone to scatter, and they finish the episode off in another kind of cliffhanger-y type fashion, as we see the 50 cal go off and start, mowing people down. Oh, my God. That was exciting. So it looks like Ezekiel's going to make it because the others are kind of falling on top of him, so he's going to survive. But, you can see kind of like some comic book moments from this part coming out here. And then, of course, in the promo, you see Carol. She may have snuck inside, maybe coming up to try to take these guys out. Either way, it was really cool the way it kind of worked together with the others, because we find out from Rick and Daryl that, and Aaron and their group, as they're all over there, that the big guns are missing, So where did the big guns go? And they went to Gavin's group. And then, of course, we see the Kingdom, who's believes they have taken out the entire group, when really the 50 cal is up there and just getting ready. And then kind of out of nowhere, just starts kind of going off. It's like, oh, shit. So it's too late now. Just as long as you're within range, you're getting mowed down. So that was really exciting stuff all the way through. Victories, right? It was really cool for the Kingdom. And I really loved everything they did with them this episode. Also, we have a wicked fight between Jesus and Morgan, which was really exciting as well, too. And, man, I really liked it as part of the Saviors kind of go to run away, the ones that are kind of tied together. And Morgan starts just shooting them down in similar fashion to how the 50 cal was just mowing down people, getting ready to just finish them all off one at a time. And, you've got Jesus who stops him, and then they go at it. And you have Jesus who kind of bests him, I want to say, but then, doesn't do it in a masculine, dominant way, does it like an alpha way. He does it more in a way where he just kind of, I want to say, like, disarms him, tries not to hurt him, but stops him, and really shows how skilled Jesus is, which I suppose, is within the comic books that he really is when it comes to hand-to-hand fighting and combat and speed and agility. He really is a level above just about anybody else in the show. Even though he's maybe not the biggest in terms of stature as Tom Paine, he still is very elusive, very hard to hit, and even Morgan with his staff and how practiced he is with the staff after all these years, surprisingly is not able to beat Jesus, who is basically unarmed. So Jesus levels up here, I want to say, in this episode. You get to see a very exciting fight between the two, and Jesus kind of wins, but then kind of gives, and then Morgan goes back. But really, I would say overall that Jesus was the winner in that exchange. And you wouldn't think so, because generally, if you have somebody who's armed against an unarmed opponent, generally the one who's armed has a huge advantage. If the person doesn't have anything and you have either a staff or whatever, a knife or anything else, right? So Jesus is really just that good. But it was an exciting fight. I love to see it. It made perfect sense, because Jesus feels very passionately that they need to, allow these people the opportunity to surrender. Morgan feels no, they don't. Rick, depending on the deal, might be on the side of Jesus a little bit more. It's kind of tricky, and then Daryl, of course, not. So a cool theme as we run throughout of what to do once you've captured, and some of them shooting to kill 100%, like Tara on that side. Others kind of like not so sure. In addition to that, they also work in the stuff with Maggie and Gregory this episode. So we see Gregory kind of running back to the hilltop with his tail between his legs, and Maggie there in what is maybe one of the best leader-type parts for her so far, where you see her kind of ream out Gregory for being a traitor and being a weasel, and yet she lets him back anyways because he's begging like, he is a weasel, right? He's begging, he's got no backbone, he's got no spine, and he's just, saying absolutely anything he can to get back into the hilltop. And she does let him back in, even though, of course, we all know it's basically a mistake, and later on she's going to pay for it. But I like how she kind of harps him out and yells at him and stuff. It's just really funny. And then afterwards we get the group arriving that has the captured saviors, so many of them, bringing them in to decide what to do with them with Maggie. And Jesus just his opinion of keeping them alive, really probably going to be rubbing off on others, and Maggie probably giving them an opportunity. So we'll see how that works out in next week's episode and what they're going to do with them. But we did kind of a video yesterday or earlier today, depending on when you're watching this, Q&A about what to do with them. So you can watch that video if you want to hear my thoughts more on that one. But it was all good. It was all exciting stuff. Good scenes. Stuff with Morales was awesome. A lot of the gunfighting was cool. The fire extinguisher and the smoke and kind of the throwing them down the elevator. Aaron kind of hearing the others. It was just really exciting all the way through. Some important dialogue, an important episode for the show. And, The Walking Dead, what can I say? The Walking Dead is killing it. These first few episodes, every episode you have a lot of different things happening at once. But I personally feel like it makes total sense to work this all in the way they're doing it, rather than bottling it off and having certain battles in certain episodes, other battles in other episodes. This one really felt smooth because you started to see the events of one group impact the other. The group arrives with the captured saviors to the hilltop to meet the others. Rick and the others hear about this big guns, and they've been talking about it. Where are they at? And then we find out where they're at with the kingdom afterwards. So great music all throughout. Thought the score was really cool, really kind of trance-like at some parts. You see the bodies everywhere. You see the zombies eating. Again, setting into us like, yes, it's all out war, but there's zombies everywhere, and people get killed. If they don't get shot in the head, they're going to turn. They're going to eat others. So really cool stuff. The argument between Jesus and Morgan saying he just can't take this shit anymore. He's basically saying, screw it. You guys are up to your own. If you get yourselves killed by giving these people a chance, then that's what it is. So all out war, absolutely killing it this season. I am personally biased and upset that they killed off Morales. Like I said, a couple of character deaths in this one, but I mean, in terms of score, like I'm looking at this episode thinking, like, is this a, should I say 10? Like, what else can I say? I mean, it's just, they did so much again, and it was so exciting all the way through, and the twist at the end and everything, so well set up, and then comes into play. It's like, wow, so exciting. So yeah, I guess that's what I'll say. I'll say a 10, another one. So yeah, I mean, this season off to an incredible start, and it could be the best season ever. So let's see where we're at, and at the halfway mark. But so far, I mean, what an amazing start to this season. Compare it to episodes 2 and 3 from season 7. You know what I mean? Like, just think about that. Like, watch one of those episodes and watch these 2 and 3 from this season. It's like, wow, man. All Out War, they're doing an amazing job. It's definitely not an all-out war, that's for sure. So let me know what you guys think. Write your comments below. Did this episode kill it for you like it killed it for me? I still loved it, even though they killed off Morales and everything. I'm just appreciative that he was even back at all as a fan nod. So let me know what you guys think. Watch the reaction video earlier. Send me your questions for the Q&A. And I'll be back again in another hour for the predictions video. If you're watching this video on Monday or Tuesday or later, I'll have the end screen videos for you guys here so you can check out the predictions for next week, episode 4, reaction, all that other stuff. That's it for this video, guys. We'll see you again soon for another. As always, is Trev, and I'm saying peace. Later, guys. See you soon. Well, I hope you're wearing your subscribing pants.
What?
Your subscribing pants. Because you're going to subscribe to this channel wearing those pants.